Guess how old Steph Curry is now? 37. Now that might still be young in real life, but in NBA years, that's getting pretty ancient. I mean, some of the greatest point guards of all time were already retired by this age. But thanks to modern science, discipline, and maybe a little magic, Steph's still got something left in the tank.
6 on the shot clock for 3. Wet. It's wet.
Unfortunately, no matter how well he's aged, time doesn't slow down for anyone, and realistically, he's got maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 good years left at best. And that leads us to the million-dollar question. What's next for Steph Curry? Does he ride off into the sunset like Kobe? Or does he chase one last ring, the 5th that could redefine his legacy, rewrite the GOAT conversation, and crown him as the best player of his generation? Today, we explore every road still open to Steph Curry, and the one that could leave a permanent mark on NBA history. Making NBA videos for a living sounds like a dream, but behind the scenes, it's a grind that quietly wears on you. Constant deadlines, creative pressure, mental fatigue, and no matter how passionate you are, some days it's just overwhelming. After a while, that pressure started to build, and that's when I realized something important. Mental health struggles are real, and they don't just affect creators, they affect everyone. You know, back in the day, talking about mental health was seen as weak. If I brought it up with friends or family, they'd laugh or say I was being soft. But the more I learn about the world today, the more I realize this is one of the biggest pandemics we're facing. Studies show more people than ever are hurting themselves because of mental health, and that's heartbreaking. That's why I'm proud to talk about today's paid partner, BetterHelp, an online therapy platform that connects you with credentialed therapists from home. It's designed to make therapy more accessible, with flexible scheduling, licensed professionals, and no waiting rooms. Visit BetterHelp.com/HoopReports for 10% off your first month, because your mental health isn't just important, it's everything. The first option for Steph Curry and the Warriors is quite simple. Run it back. In 2025, they weren't a bad team at all. Sure, they collapsed with 4 straight losses and were sent packing. But if Steph hadn't injured his hamstring against Minnesota, and if Jimmy Butler hadn't gone down against the Rockets, the Warriors likely would have taken care of the Timberwolves and advanced to face the eventual champions.
Give it to the hottest Warrior. Curry's got another one.
Now, whether they could have beaten OKC is up for debate, but it would have been a battle. But here's what's crazy. If they had pulled it off, if they had beaten OKC where Minnesota had failed, Steph Curry and the Warriors would have likely gone on to win the title. So really, it's unfortunate that injuries robbed us of seeing the true potential of what this Warrior squad could do. But in any case, option 1 is simple. Run it back in 2026 and take another shot. Unfortunately, there's one big problem. Steph will be 38 by the 2026 playoffs, and Jimmy's just 1 year behind. To add to that, unfortunately, they're in the West. If this roster were in the East, this would be an entirely different conversation. But in the West, with 10 playoff caliber teams fighting for just 8 playoff spots, just surviving the regular season is a dangerous grind. The second option is to build a super team, right now in the Bay Area. Recently, Shaq said on air that if he and Steph had teamed up, they would have won 6 rings. Unfortunately, for Warriors fans, Shaq's 53 today, and the only rings he's collecting from here on out are onion rings. But he has called Giannis Antetokounmpo the modern-day version of himself. Let's not get too deep into the logistics, but hypothetically, if the Warriors could mortgage their future and pair Steph with a legit top 3 player like Giannis, they'd be instant title favorites.
With a high bounce pass, Giannis slapping it home.
Sure, they could win as currently constructed, like I said earlier, but this would massively increase the odds and excitement. Yes, I know, it's a massive gamble. Just look at how things turned out when Lillard went to Milwaukee. Then on top of that, they'd be giving up a ton of future draft capital, meaning once Steph retires, the Warriors will be irrelevant for the next 7 to 10 years. But let's be real, that's probably going to happen anyways, no matter what they do. But here's where it gets tougher, not just for the front office, but for Steph himself. Because to pull this off, to pull off another super team in the Bay Area, they'd likely have to move on from Draymond Green, the guy who's been with Steph since day one, and the heartbeat of the dynasty, as Steve Kerr often says. And if there's one thing we've learned from Steph, it's that he wants to win his way, and sacrificing Draymond might cross a line he's not willing to cross. So now the question becomes, do you chase greatness and rewrite history, even if it means saying goodbye to a man you built everything with? Or do you just shrug and say, well, that's what you get for swinging on Poole and chasing Durant away? The third and most shocking option for Steph Curry and the Warriors is a trade. It sounds unthinkable, but this might actually be the best win-win scenario for both Steph and the Warriors. I mean, for Golden State, moving Steph would bring in a ton of draft picks. We're talking 4 to 5 unprotected picks, pick swaps, you name it. And for Steph, he'd instantly turn almost any contender into a title favorite. I mean, all Denver would need to do is move off Jamal Murray, toss in someone like Cam Johnson, and mortgage their next 10 years of draft picks, and then boom, Curry and Jokic? Good luck stopping that. Now, sure, a lot of fans might hate this. They want to see Steph retire in Golden State like Kobe did in LA. But what if this gave Steph his 5th ring? That would put him above LeBron in championships, and let's be honest, most Warriors fans would love that. It would also make the GOAT debate a whole lot spicier. I mean, right now, in most people's eyes, it's MJ versus LeBron. But if Curry had 5 rings to LeBron's 4, and since 3 of those came at LeBron's expense, there's a real argument that Steph becomes this generation's GOAT. But that's a conversation for another day. Back to the Warriors. If they got, say, 5 unprotected first-round picks for Steph, that's a painful day for Warriors fans, but could it be invaluable going forward for the Warriors organization? Sure, they've struck out before with the Wiseman pick, and currently the Kuminga situation is getting more and more ugly with each passing day. But what if this time they got it right? What if all those picks ended up in the top 5 or top 10? Just look at how quickly OKC turned things around. And don't forget, Boston landed Tatum and Brown in back-to-back drafts. At the end of the day, as much as I hate the idea of Steph leaving Golden State, this could be a win-win. Steph gets a real shot at one more ring, and the Warriors hit reset with the assets and gamble to build a new future. It's risky. It's a bigger scandal than the Luka trade. But could it be the right move for both sides? Joe Lacob, the Warriors owner, has said before that he wants Steph to retire as a Warrior. But even he's admitted, if the team becomes a bottom feeder, things could change. And Steph pretty much said the same thing. He wants to finish his career in Golden State. unless they fall too far off and aren't competitive. And that's why 2025 was so frustrating. Because of injuries, we never really got to see how good this team actually is. If they had been soundly beaten by Minnesota or OKC, then yeah, there'd be no debate. Blow it up, move on. But that didn't happen. So making a drastic move like building a super team or trading Steph doesn't make sense if option one is still alive. And for anyone who thinks the Warriors are cooked, just remember, after the Jimmy Butler trade, when every team was fighting for playoff spots, the Warriors were the third best team in the league to close the season. So, what do I think they'll do? They'll run it back in 2026. If healthy, this roster is good enough to make the Western Conference Finals, and once you're there, anything can happen. But if they miss the playoffs entirely or get bounced early somehow, then buckle up, because the 2026 offseason will get very interesting. Steph's under contract until 2027, where he'll be 38. But thankfully, with how he plays, he's got a good shot at sticking around through 2029, where he'll be 40. But here's the part not many Golden State fans want to think about. Yes, it would be poetic for Steph to retire as a Warrior. But do you really want to watch him go out like that, getting double-teamed as a 38, 39, and 40-year-old, and potentially losing 55 games a year? Or would you rather see him competing for another ring, putting his skills to use on the biggest stage one last time? I mean, Kobe retired with the Lakers because his body broke down and he simply couldn't perform at the highest level anymore. But if Steph's still playing at a high level at 40, wouldn't it be better to see him go out with one final bang? If Steph were planning to hang it up in 2027, fine, keep him in Golden State. But if he's got more in the tank, and I think he does, then unless the Warriors pull off a super team miracle in the Bay, a mutual decision to part ways might be the best option forward. And if that happens, don't be surprised if he ends up with the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, it's close to home, it's a massive spotlight, and it'll be with prime Luka Doncic, a guy who could serve up open shots like morning coffee. You just know Adam Silver would be drooling at the idea. After all, this is the same guy who seemingly rigged an entire draft just to get a star like Luka to LA. So, if the Warriors ever floated the idea of trading Steph to LA, what wouldn't Silver facilitate to get Steph in purple and gold? What do you think the Warriors should do in Steph's final years? Drop a comment below, and let's talk about how he can get that 5th ring.